sharing this time with us. Before we get into you as a mom and how you've experienced motherhood, share with us your most fondest memory with you and your mom.
Wow. Okay, got my tissue close by. There have been so many. I'm not really sure where to begin. The fondest, I can't single out one because there were many of them from, I think, every age of mine, from a little girl and how she praised me for being able to walk home from Freeze Elementary by myself in the days when it was more safe to do so. Just to come in the house by myself because they were working, Dad was in the military. Just those early days, and then her working at the same junior high school that I attended. Some of that wasn't so fun, but just looking back and being thankful for her always being there for me through school, or no matter what it was. Just the fondest memory in general, I think, is just her presence, just always being present and engaged with me.
And I'm sure she had a lot to do with the woman you are today.
Definitely.
Your spirituality, her leading you to Christ.
Definitely.
Her relationship with God, and just the example of a great woman and a great Christian. She was a great wife as well.
Definitely.
As she was. So thank you for sharing a little bit of her with us. So you as a mom,
Yes.
you have how many children and how many grandchildren?
Wow, so 3 children, 2 by birth, and then a daughter in love, and then 11 grandchildren. Some blended family, but 11 grandchildren counting all. So pretty thankful for that. Pretty thankful to be alive to see them. I don't get to interact with all of them as often as I'd like, but they're nevertheless our heart. So
Absolutely. You spoke about having 2 biological children and then having a daughter through marriage.
yes.
So a blended family,
Right.
Speak a little bit about what that looks like for you, your experience with not only your 2 biological children, but then adding another child at fairly, not really a young age, but an age where we have opinions, we have characteristics, we have attitudes, we have, speak a little bit about how God orchestrated the blended part of the family.
Yes, definitely. That was indeed a blessing. When looking back, my daughter-in-law was 11. Her mom had passed. And I just look back at how God knows what he's doing, and he orchestrates things perfectly. We don't know at the time exactly what he's doing, but imagining losing your mom at that young age and trying to navigate everything else going on in your life, without your mom. So I'm still so thankful that he placed me in Maya's life. We had some rocky times where, one way of working with her emotions, we would write. I told her, if we're face to face, it gets too emotional, it might be too hard. So write me a letter, and we wrote letters back and forth. And that way I said, you say whatever you want to say. It may have been painful at times, but just say whatever you want to say to me, so that you will be heard, and you can put it all down in that letter without interruption of emotion. So she did that, and I wrote back and prayed about things before I wrote back, and I was learning so much during that same process. I had never been a stepmom before, so learned so much during that process. And moving forward to this day, I look at some of the comments she shared about me. It took a while initially for her to even refer to me as mom, and we said, that's okay, just you have to be respectful, but you don't have to call me mom. She had a mom. So when the day of her wedding rehearsal, I believe it was in Detroit, when we went back for the wedding, and she was introducing everyone, unbeknownst to me, that's when she referred to me as her mom. So that was really very touching and emotional, but she may not always call me mom, but she respects me as mom. Her mom in love, but she has written some beautiful things publicly about how I've influenced her life. I know that's only God. I can take no credit for that. Only God who nurtured our relationship and blossomed it to where it is today. Again, we are miles and miles away, but we speak whenever we can, and all the other little babies in the background are there too, so lots of little ones, 6 to be exact, but I'm thankful for the young woman she is, and she has many influences other than just myself. She has her siblings, she has other mothers here at the church at Bayview, others that have poured into her life as well. So that experience has been nothing but a blessing. I see God all in it, and I'm so thankful to Him for how He brought us both through that.
Absolutely. And it's almost as though God was looking out for the both of you in a situation.
Yes.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with us. So, what would you say is your most memorable moment, aside from giving birth, in motherhood?
My most memorable moment in motherhood, aside from giving birth.
Aside from giving birth, yep.
I can't use that one. Okay. Again, many of those, I think, from both my children. Maya said didn't come into our lives until she was 11, but my 2 children, yourself and your brother Paul, just watching you grow up. I don't have one. I just don't have one. Just watching you from children, being able to nurture you, not always doing the right thing, making mistakes along the way. I really wish, I don't wish, but we can't go back and change things, but there were things I would do differently in raising my 2 children, but I think I did a pretty good job.
Absolutely.
But just watching them grow, being able to be a part of that growth process and seeing first, walking and talking and being able to be influential in that. And then school years, I feel like it was just a blur. It went by so fast, but just making sure both of my children were doing what they should have done. At one point, I was divorced and going through the divorce process, so it was just the 3 of us. So that was a whole new experience. I thank God as well, because He was right there with us through that as well. Didn't know quite how to navigate those waters either at the time, but God knew, and God was right there with us. And I was still, my daughter, I can't speak of you in the third person, very, very, always on the go, always looking to achieve, always self-sufficient, always looking for opportunities for education and growth. I'm so proud of that. I think she reminds me a lot of my mom, your Nana. Just always looking for ways to enhance her own knowledge. So I'm so thankful for that. But my son Paul had some bumps in the road growing up, teenage years, and some of the decisions that he made weren't quite the right ones. Stayed with him through that. God blessed us through some difficult times with Paul, and I'm just thankful that I trusted him through it all. I think some of my family expected me to be more worried about some of the things I was experiencing with my son, but I knew God had him first. God gave him to me, but he was God's child. I'd given him back to him, both my children at an early age. As infants, dedicated them back to the Lord. So while others may have been worrying, I was just trusting God. What else could I do? Knowing that I knew where he was, and I asked God to get his attention however he could, whatever he needed to do to get his attention. And he did, and today he's doing really well. I'm so thankful for where he's come from. And both my children are accomplishing great things. You, an author, and mom yourself, I always wanted to see how my children would discipline their children, so they're both parents. And that was the one thing that I really wanted to see. How will you discipline your own children? So amazing. You've done an amazing job as a mom, a wife, and Paul is a father. But just so many memories, so many memories to recount that I just can't tell them all. But it's been a joyous journey. It doesn't end when your children are grown, of course. So they're still learning to do, still growing together, still understanding one another. But I'm thankful. I'm so thankful to be a mom of my 2 children and my daughter-in-law.
Yeah. Well, you briefly mentioned about you as a mother not always making the right decisions, and if you had to do something different, you would do some things differently. And so that brings me to my next question. If you had an opportunity for a do-over, one do-over, because we say we can't go back and we can't change the past and all that, but our past can help somebody's future.
That's right.
And so what would be one thing, if you had an opportunity for a do-over, what would that one do-over be?
The one do-over, I would say I wouldn't do it over. I wouldn't change a thing. I would not change a thing, because God has me on His path for His plan and for His purpose. I know that now as I've come to a closer relationship with Christ, I wouldn't change a thing. There were painful moments, again, the mistakes I've made, but all of it was working together for my good and for His glory. So I would not change a thing. Wouldn't change a thing.
That's rich. That's rich. So from one mother to another, and we have many of them, plethora of mothers here at Bayview. What is one wise word you would share from yourself to another mother?
One wise word would be to accept your children as they are, love them where they are, support them always. Don't speak of your children illy amongst other people. Deal with your child directly. You know, whatever you need to say to them directly without involving other people. Just love them where they are. Again, we all make mistakes. We have to remember our childhood and remember our mistakes. Remember that we weren't perfect. So as we raise them, we love them where they are and allow them the opportunity to make mistakes and grow from them. We're always there to support them, no matter what age they are. They're always on your heart. So just that support, that never-ending love for them just as they are. That would be my words of wisdom.
That's beautiful. Well, Queen, this has been a great time. You did wonderful. And once again, happy Mother's Day to you.
Thank you. Happy Mother's Day to you too. I love you.
Thank you. I love you. You are a phenomenal woman.
Thank you for having
phenomenal
me.
Mother, grandmother, and all the above.
As you are.
Thank you so much.
Happy
Mother's Day.
Thank you. Happy Mother's Day.